M. Prudviraj from ECB section. The allotted topic for assignment 2 is active voice and passive voice. The outline active voice and passive voice. Definitions of active and passive voice. Difference between active and passive voice. Examples for active and passive voice, and conclusion. Here we have the active and passive voice. In English, the active and passive voice are two different ways of structuring a sentence. The active voice places the subject of the sentence as the doer of the action, while the passive voice shifts the focus to the recipient of the action. Definition of active voice. In the active voice, the subject of the sentence performs the action expressed by the verb. This means the subject is actively doing something. Active voice is direct, clear, and puts the focus on the person or thing taking the action. It conveys a sense of authority and responsibility, making the writing more engaging and dynamic. For example, the writer composed a brilliant essay is an active voice, where the writer is the one performing the action. Definition of passive voice. Passive voice is a grammatical construction where the subject of the sentence receives the action rather than performing it. In passive voice, the focus shifts from the doer of the action to the receiver of the action. The subject is acted upon rather than acting. Passive voice is formed by using a form of the verb to be. For example, is, was, will be, along with the past participle of the main verb. This construction places the emphasis on the action itself rather than the person or thing carrying out the action. Passive voice is often used when the doer of the action is unknown, unimportant, or irrelevant to the main point of the sentence. It can also create a more formal or impersonal tone in writing. Difference between active and passive voice. First one, subject verb relationship. In active voice, the subject performs the action described by the verb. In passive voice, the subject receives the action described by the verb. Emphasis and focus. Active voice emphasizes the person or thing carrying out the action, while passive voice shifts the focus to the recipients of the action. Third one, directness and clarity. Active voice is generally more direct and clear, making it easier for the reader to understand who is doing what. Passive voice can sometimes be more vague or ambiguous. Sentence structure. Active voice sentences typically follow a subject verb object structure, while passive voice sentence often rearrange this order with the object becoming the subject. Tips for choosing the right voice. Consider your audience and the purpose of your writing. Use active voice for most situations to keep your writing clear and direct. Use passive voice sparingly and intentionally for specific emphasis or stylistic reasons. Common mistakes in using active and passive voice. One common mistake while when using active and passive voice is confusing the two or using them inconsistently with the same piece of writing. This can make the text feel disjointed and unclear. Another mistake is overusing the passive voice, which can make the writing sound evasive or impersonal. Additionally, some writers struggle with identifying the correct subject and object in a sentence, leading to confusion between active and passive constructions. It is the main common mistake of using active and passive voice. Here we have the examples of active voice. The dog chased the cat. In this, the subject is the dog and the verb is chased. Object is the cat. She wrote a novel. In this, we have the subject she, verb is wrote, and the object is a novel. Active voice is preferred in most writing for its simplicity and clarity. Examples of passive voice: the cat was chased by the dog. In this, the cat is the subject and the verb was chased. Agent, dog. The novel was written by her. Subject is the novel. Verb was written. Agent by her. Passive voice is used when the focus is on the receiver of the action rather than the doer. And the conclusion: active voice and passive voice are two important tools in writing. Understanding when to use each voice can enhance the clarity and impact of your communication. Practice using both voices to become a more versatile and effective writer. It is the about active voice and passive voice. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.